Stugotz is sneaking heaters, so we can't get to the rest of his top 5 just yet. But in the interest of us at Meadowlark Media somehow finding computers that can replace others, maybe even Stugotz during a cigarette break will figure out how to hire an AI thing with yellow fingers to sit here and say, the dream, Dan. Hakeem the dream. Greg Cody has in front of him now 2 computer-generated back in my days. I think Billy is right. Last week's fell flat because it had too much cliche in it. Not enough Greg Cody flair, not enough 1940s, 30s Steamboat Willie references. The real Greg Cody, the authentic Greg Cody, cannot be duplicated by a computer.
Eisner.
They are feeding you that line so that you say it earlier, Greg. That's the entire room. That's 5 or 6 people excited about a line they gave you about 7 seconds earlier. Do you realize?
It looks like he gets shocked when we talk to him.
Eisner.
It looks like we're electrocuting him.
Greg, do you realize?
Yeah, go ahead. Eisner. Remember when my voice was so bad I couldn't hit that note? I couldn't say, Eisner. I couldn't get that high.
Look at you now.
Yeah.
You've been doing the show with us for how long?
I don't know. I don't keep track of stuff like that.
Okay. When I'm looking into another room and I see 6 people shouting Eisner because you haven't heard it the 4 times they've whispered it to you?
Right. It's soundproof glass. I mean,
That's a good point.
they're
What am I
talking in
supposed to do?
only your ears.
So
and
how'd you hear it then?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, I saw through a soundproof room 6 people. They were mouthing. They were all yelling Eisner because you weren't hearing it you were hearing it being fed into your head, but you thought they were doing show because you cannot yet delineate between when they're talking to you and when you're doing show.
Right.
Because you're the guy who has his ear up to the television in the Heat's press box.
I'm processing it, that's all. Since when are you a lip reader?
It was all 6 of them jumping up and down like popcorn kernels trying to feed you the line. It's
they
a good.
did,
It's
and
your
I said
line.
it. Eisner.
Remember when he couldn't hit that note, Dan?
Exactly. Thank you.
We've got 2 fake artificial intelligence back in my days because Greg Cody's been overworked for 4. He's about to be overworked. Overworked.
Yeah, this is him in the middle of a 5-day off rest from covering
5
the
days
playoffs.
off. What are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
They played on Friday.
We got 2 of them. We got one of them that's just a generic back in my day about lazy journalists. The other one is lazy journalists complained about by a narcissist. They're 2 different ones. We want to see if we can execute this. He's already criticizing
with musical references. It's hugely important.
Yes, thank you. He has been criticizing. He says these are very long. He's criticizing the AI's work so far. Let's start. This is just lazy journalists as made by AI.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guide, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
Lazy journalism. Back in my day, journalism was a noble profession that required dedication, integrity, and a hunger for the truth. Reporters would hit the streets armed with pens, notepads, and a relentless pursuit of the facts. Nowadays, it seems like lazy journalism has become all too common. Instead of digging deep and uncovering the hidden stories that matter, some journalists have fallen into a cycle of sensationalism, clickbait, and superficial reporting. Back in my day, journalists would spend hours researching, fact-checking, and verifying their information. They would cross-reference multiple sources and strive for objectivity. They understood the importance of getting it right, even if it meant sacrificing speed. But now, it's all about being the first to break a story, even if that means sacrificing accuracy. Lazy journalists rely on unverified social media posts, hearsay, and anonymous sources without conducting proper due diligence. They churn out articles with catchy headlines designed to grab attention rather than provide substantive content. Back in my day, journalists were storytellers. They would craft narratives that captivated readers, delving into the heart of the matter.
I already hate it.
Boring.
I hate it. Boring.
Boring.
No. Crumple it up, throw it away. Let's get to the narcissism.
I tried to say it was too long and nobody listened.
Sucks. Terrible.
Greg's safe.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one looks longer.
Jeez.
It's a narcissist. That third paragraph, my goodness.
Lazy journalism 2.0.
And now it is time to take a trip down memory lane.
Computer would have known the
Here's your
layout.
guy, Greg Cody, with Back in My Day.
Lazy journalists. Journalism used to be a noble profession, a calling pursued by the curious, the diligent, and the passionate. We were truth seekers, guardians of democracy, and purveyors of information. Reporters would hit the streets armed with pens, notepads, and a relentless pursuit of the facts. But oh, how times have changed. Today's journalists seem more interested in clickbait, sensationalism, and lazy shortcuts
The same thing.
than in upholding the value. See, you can't trust artificial
Just wait for the musical references.
Lazy journalists of today, they sit comfortably in their air-conditioned offices, sipping their lattes and scrolling through Twitter feeds as if the world's most important stories could be summarized in 280 characters or less. We didn't have fancy contraptions like the interwebs. No, sir. We relied on good old-fashioned legwork and a trusty typewriter. Journalists used to be storytellers. I'm talking about a time when the likes of Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Little Richard were tearing up the airwaves with their revolutionary new sounds. They would craft narratives that captivated readers, delving into the heart of the matter. They would analyze complex issues, providing context and presenting different perspectives. They were the watchdogs, holding the powerful accountable. They were like Eliot Ness and the Untouchables, fighting for justice in the American way. Journalists would spend hours researching, fact-checking, and verifying information. They would cross-reference multiple sources and strive for objectivity. They understood the importance of getting it right, even if it meant sacrificing speed. I miss the days when journalism was a respected craft, when reporters would go the extra mile to uncover the truth and provide the public with reliable information. Next time you come across a lazy journalist, take a moment to remember the ones who came before them. Remember the journalists who were not content with mediocrity, who strived for excellence, and who believed in the power of the pen. Because, my friends, lazy journalism is an insult to our profession. It's time for us to demand more from the Fourth Estate, to hold lazy journalists accountable, and to restore the integrity and credibility of the noble craft we once cherished. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was bought in my day.
I'm worried now. That one was pretty good.
That was good.
Not as good as Greg, though.
It's time to demand more of the journalist who refuses to do Back in My Days for several months now. And we have to replace him with something if he's not going to do it. It is a pale imitation. It is not the authentic Greg Cody. A computer cannot recreate the authentic, aged fossil that is Greg Cody.
Can't do it.
Yet.
Ooh.
Yet.
The more we feed it, the better it'll get.
Yet.
Needs to learn Greg
That
Cody.
didn't
Yeah.
have enough narcissism in it. You had to say extra narcissism, plugs his podcast. You have to throw in a little more bait. But I do think that in time we might be able to, and ask it to be shorter, quicker, more jokes. Need more jokes, because you guys are sitting back. I understand why this happens. It's been normalized. A computer just wrote that. That's crazy. Like, it's
In 3 minutes.
That's crazy. Writing's hard. It's the most failed class in American colleges. Writing's hard. We gave a computer information, and it wrote some of the talking points you see on Fox and CNN.
Is it the most failed topic in college? For real?
Yeah, writing in English.
It seems like things are harder than that. I mean, I'm just saying. Science, med school.
You don't think writing's hard?
Trigonometry.
Math, trig. I feel like, no, I'm not saying writing's not hard. Lord knows I haven't written a thing. I'm just saying it feels like that's, I don't know.
Stugotz, I'm pointing out to you the same thing. Stugotz is looking down his nose at Zaslow and you and Chris Cody for being in the press box, interrupting people who are doing a difficult thing writing because you don't know how hard it is to write. And it's rude. And of course you would say, you mean it's hard?
Seems pretty easy from that.
Yeah, I mean, AI makes it look easy.
I think it could replace all of us.
It could. That's what's scary. It really is. It's going to take over the world.
Not yet, but it's going to get better faster than we do, isn't it? It's going to learn quicker.
You think you guys are getting better?
I was going to say.
No,
we're
right,
getting better. Yeah.
Impress me. Get worse as fast as we are.
I was saying all of us. I wasn't just saying us. I was saying all of us. I think all of us are past our prime.
Huh. Speak for yourself, man.
Who's Greg's number 5, I'm wondering?
Number 5, Greg Cody.
Well, there was a tie.
Yeah, there was a tie
Uncle
for
Fester
fifth.
and Uncle
Fester.
Dick.
Right,
Okay.
so we're on number 4.
So these are athletes who connote family names. Number 4.
Mother Teresa.
Excellent. We didn't say athletes, by the way.
Good at cricket.
Number 4.
Tony Brothers.
Number 3, Greg Cody.
Larry Grandmama Johnson.
That's just his nickname.
Grandmama. Perfect.
But that's not his name. Like Nick Cousins.
Right. I mean, most people would call him Grandmama, would they not?
Yes, of course.
No, they would call him Larry.
LJ.
Number 3, Stugotz.
Cousin Sal.
He's done these before.
It's a good one.
Greg has it.
That's his name.
Correct.
Thank you. You're at number 3 for Greg.
No, I'm at number 2.
Oh,
I've done a tie for 5th, a 4th, and a 3rd.
wow. Number 2.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Finally got it right.
Yeah. 2 for me. Johnny Padres. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Number 1, Greg.
Let's do Stugotz number 1 first.
Okay.
And number 1.
Hold on, Greg. Hold on. Number 1, Stugotz.
Uncle Charlie. The old number 2.
That is the curveball.
The old number 2 is your number 1.
Why would the old number 2 be your number 1? And Greg Cody's much anticipated number 1.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
We just mowed through the pleasantries where people asked Ron Magill how he was doing. He said he was doing fine. Back and forth it went, and Billy inserted in a way that Ron Magill did not hear. You sound like I don't know why. I don't know why Billy did that. Do you think Ron Magill is sick? What do you think the problem is?
No, it was more of a microphone thing, but I think we're just going to roll with it. So
Okay.
it was more of an instructive thing on our end. Like, yeah, let's say to me.
Oh, so it's not. So it wasn't. He sounds like
no,
shit.
it wasn't a Ron thing. No, I love Ron.
No, we got to get this. I got this beautiful mic you guys sent me and stuff, but we got to get it hooked up.
Well,
so it's
you just plug it in. Have you plugged it in?
Yep.
yeah, I plugged it in, and then what happens is we have a problem. I have to unplug it right away because you're not getting anything. It's
Blow on
something-
it. Shake it and blow on it. See if that does anything. That's what I do with my Nintendo.
Ron, you have had a microphone for about 2 years. How do we not have your audio right yet? You've had that. That went out at the beginning of the pandemic. It was one of the first purchases the company made.
Yeah, well, that first one broke. It went down. This is the second one that you guys have sent me now. This is the new second nice Shure jobber here that you sent me. And it's here, and we plugged it in, and that's the time the mic said, no, unplug it. It's not working. That sounds worse, whatever.
All right.
So that's what we said.
Right.
And then my understanding was someone was going to come here and kind of set up the studio with all the nice stuff that you
Yes.
sent me.
Meadowlark Media, ladies and gentlemen, 2 years to get a functioning microphone so that Ron Magill, a weekly segment, doesn't sound like too hard to do. He's across the street. It's hard to get there. Can't get sound for a weekly segment that is one of our most popular so that Ron Magill can sound not like while we're doing entertainment.
Well, I mean, Taylor was busy. I think it's his responsibility. He's, but he was reporting live from MSG, talking into a shoe. I mean,
Ron's always doing stuff though. He's saving eagles. Like
how'd you break
busy
the
man.
first microphone, Ron? What'd you do?
I didn't do anything. It just kind of broke. It just all of a sudden wasn't working. And Mike says, no, that sounds like unplug it. Okay, that sounds better. And that was just going through the mic on the computer. Listen, I don't know about this technological stuff, guys. You know that by now. I just hope that when I hit the button, it comes on and I see my face. Okay, I guess it's working. But you guys have the technical fine tuning over there. You've sent me a bunch of great equipment. I don't know how to use it.
Yeah, someone should teach you that, because again, we do the segment weekly, and if a proud franchising company is going to be proud of the work that it does, it seems like fixing his audio would be a pretty simple
In all
thing.
fairness, your team has reached out and said, we want to send somebody down there. We just haven't been able to coordinate the times.
Yeah, okay.
Saving eagles.
Yes.
In fairness to Ron, I don't know much about birds, so I had a bird question for him. So, Ron, my daughter was gifted a little bird feeder that we attached to a window and we put bird seed on. Now, it hasn't attracted many birds. There's been a couple, but I have been worried that the bird, because it's on a clear window and it's a clear house, will just fly into the window. Is that something I should be concerned about?
Yeah, the best thing to do with those types of windows is you can actually purchase these little dots that you put onto the window that tells the bird that it's a window so it doesn't fly into the window. That's generally what people should do with any type of large glass doors or glass windows that they have that expose themselves to what could be a flight path for birds. I mean, people don't realize this. I don't want to put the downer on the show, but literally hundreds of thousands, if not more, birds die every year from flying into windows.
Oh, my God. I get stomach ache when I hear it happen over South Florida, because you will hear a sound somewhere and then it will fall 8 stories to its obvious death.
Stomach ache, huh?
It's unpleasant. It's an unpleasant sound to hear. A bird crashing to its clear death nearby.
I was told, Ron, that the dots have to be a certain color. Is that accurate? They see certain colors.
They don't have to be a certain color. No, they just have to be a certain distance from each other. You can't have them too far from each other. But, they make various patterns. You can go online and get these various patterns and stickers that you can put on your windows that don't really disrupt your view out to your yard or whatever, but it's very beneficial to saving birds from flying into them.
Now, on the other end of that, is there a way to attract birds to the bird feeder? Because there's been like 2 birds in like 2 weeks, and we put that up there so my daughter can see some birds, and these birds can eat, but they don't want to come. So what can we do to attract the birds but not kill the birds when they fly into the window?
Well, that'll just take some time. You put the feeder in there, and birds communicate to each other. They watch each other, and as time goes on, word of beak, so to speak, will get them coming there. The other birds will pick it up. The thing you got to be careful is you keep it out of reach of things like squirrels, and that you don't have cats in your yard. Because if there are cats coming through your yard, even if they're not your cats, but feral cats, they are a huge distraction for birds going to a feeder.
This is funny for a number of different reasons. I want you to imagine Billy trying to connect with his daughter with a simple thing in the animal kingdom, and we're watching the bird fly by. Look, you put out food, here it is, and it flies into a window and dies, or a cat jumps up and eats it while it's eating. A real horror you will have bestowed upon your child while trying to do a nice thing.
It's super frustrating, too, because it's been up there a couple weeks, right? And I saw a nice blue jay come, and then I'm like, hey, look, and she wasn't paying attention, and then it's gone right away. Because we do anything, and I guess, and Ron, maybe you can correct me, I feel like it sees our motions through the window and it scares them off. So they're there a second and then gone immediately.
Absolutely. So you need to set up such a situation where it's more like a blind, where you can set yourself up on the other side of the window and set up sort of a blind, sort of a dark, and not move and watch that way. They actually have these little bird feeders now that you can set up in the window that have little cameras on them that take pictures of birds when they come in there. So if you're away from the house, you can actually pull out the SD card and you can see all the little birds that came to your feeder. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, those are a bit pricey, though. Let's see if she's interested in birds first. I'm spending $200. Yeah.
Work for Meadowlark.
Ron, yes, Ron, I'd like for you to be doing a number of different Meadowlark things, but I was told the other day when we called you to set up something, you were with sea lions or something. You're always doing something. What was it that you were busy doing? You couldn't come to a meeting?
Turtles. We had to bring a sea turtle to do a CAT scan.
And what was the result of that? Because you're always doing something like that. And
that's unfortunately is probably not very good news. The sea turtle's suffering from something called, it's a fancy name, it's called fibropapillomavirus. It's a type of herpes virus that infects sea turtles, primarily green sea turtles, and it causes these tumors that can be benign and not necessarily fatal, but they can grow to such an extent that they can cover the eyes, cover the mouth, cover the nose, and the animal dies from it. Or even worse, the tumors can spread to the internal organs. And when we see the tumors, that's usually a fatal ending. Unfortunately, the CAT scan revealed that this turtle had possible tumors on its liver. We've got to do more extensive tests. but the initial indications were not good.
Well, for the audience that may not understand how you care about the animals and the amount of time and resources and passion that goes into the care for these animals that you treat with great kindness, great and gentle kindness, you're always running off to do something like this just to chronicle what the people at the zoo who can actually help with this stuff are doing, so that you're taking photographs so the work of the zoo doesn't get lost in the shadows.
Exactly. I'm basically the storyteller. They're the story, and there are people who help us out. Like there's a Dr. Luis Macha who runs the Advanced Veterinary Specialist Clinic in Dania. He's the only one that had a CT scan that we could put this big turtle into. And he donated his time. He donated his staff, his services. We drove that turtle all the way up to Dania, put him into the CT scan. And, again, Dr. Macho, he donated all of his time. The community is really behind this. But these animals are getting thousands and thousands of dollars of care to give them a better quality of life.
Ron, to get back to the bird point for a second, I live in an apartment building, and sometimes birds find their way into the parking garage that's very, they've got like 6 or 7 different stories. What happens when a bird gets in there? How do they get out? How do they survive?
They usually find their way out pretty easily. Many birds get in there looking actually for nesting sites. You'll find birds that love to nest inside of parking garages, up in the lips and such. It's a sheltered area. It's a concealed area from predators. There are not a whole lot of predators that go into parking garages. You don't find snakes and things like that are going to get up into the nest. So birds actually find their way in there on purpose, looking for nesting sites. Sparrows, some of the starlings, they will nest in those parking garages, and they will find their way out. I wouldn't worry about them when you see them in the garages. And they can actually pick up a lot of food there too. They could be insect feeders. People leave trash in the garage. You get roaches and stuff and other insects and ants, and they feed on that stuff. People have this misconception that if it's a human-made place, animals can survive in. And many times these human-made places are actually really beneficial for some animals to survive in. Take, for instance, a dump. This is a dump of trash that people look at as a horrible eyesore. To a lot of animals, it's a source of food.
Ron, is it the worst thing in the world if we lose some dumb birds that crash into the window? Like natural selection at some point, right?
Next.
Ron, the Florida Panthers are playing the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Finals. Who will win, a Panther or a Hurricane?
Oh, man, it's always dangerous doing this show.
Who would win, though?
Talk about the Panther now. Talk to me, buddy.
In the history of nature, how well has the Panther dealt with hurricanes?
In the history of nature, the Panther usually adapts to hurricanes pretty well.
Damn right.
It's not as much the wind that's a problem with the Panther. It's the flooding. That habitat can get flooded out. But as long as you're on the ice and it remains cold, Panther's got a huge advantage.
Ron, this is Julio here. How does a turtle get the herpes pack?
How does a turtle get the herpes what?
How does a turtle contract herpes?
Just like any other living thing can contract herpes. It can be from any kind of contact. It could be from one turtle mounting another turtle. It could be a sexually transmitted disease. But generally speaking, it's just a bodily contact. It could be 2 turtles fighting. Herpes, there are many different types of herpes viruses, guys. I don't want you to think of herpes, everybody, oh my God, it's all genital herpes. No, there's a herpes virus, for instance, that we get, the common cold sore virus, that if transferred to a great ape could be fatal. Whereas on the reverse side, there's a herpes virus that great apes can carry that can be transferred to humans that can be fatal. So there are many different strains of herpes viruses. There's a herpes virus that can kill elephants. So this is a very, very complicated issue when it comes to the herpes virus, but most of the time it's contracted by some kind of direct contact.
Ron, do you have access to, I want to make sure your computer's working and your old man skills are up and ready for a video of a man on a kayak or a person on a kayak and what appears to be a shark attacking a kayak. I did not think that this could or would happen, and the shark just hits the side of the kayak with its mouth open. The kayak is small. Go ahead and run the video, guys. And
Tiger shark! Tiger shark ran me.
Yeah, that's a scary situation there. But oh yes, that's a tiger shark.
Wow.
Tiger shark!
And it's just
Tiger shark
it's
ran me.
clinging. It's biting the side of the kayak. It's just staying there. What happened there?
What happened was it's mistaken identity. It thinks it's a seal or a fish on the top of the water, and it's coming to get food. Once it bites the kayak and it realizes it's not a seal, it's not that, you notice it did not come back for another hit. This is something I really want to explain to you guys. This shark is not saying, oh, there's a person there, I want to scare it and kill it. No, that's not what it's doing. It's the same thing that they do, in South Africa. I've watched the white sharks go underwater, and they come and they look the seals that are swimming up. That's the main food base. They come up and hit the seal. Okay. And sometimes they mistake it because you know what? A small kayak in the water could easily be mistaken for some type of prey species swimming along the water. And the shark is coming from underneath to surprise attack it, to eat it. He bites it and goes, holy crap, that's not a seal. That's a damn kayak. I don't want anything to do with it, and goes away. So again, don't panic. This is an incredibly rare occurrence. Could it happen? Absolutely, it can happen. Is it commonly happening? No, it's not. Again, I want to bring up this whole thing. It's like a plane crash. There's a plane crash, and everybody goes, oh, my God, I don't want to fly. I'm going to die. You know how many millions of people fly every day without an incident? But when there is a crash, it can be so sensationalized. It can be so viral in the way we project it, the horrible situation, that people all of a sudden start panicking, and you paint with a broad brush and go, I'm not flying anymore. Don't do that.
Greg?
Ron, the city.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
We interrupted show that we were doing to talk to Ron Magill, and as you can tell every week if you listen, Ron Magill does really good and important work with the animals. And if you want, as many of you have, to donate to something, that's the charity we're involved with, because we can know that the animals are going to get the proper care and the money's going to go to the right places, and percentages aren't going to be taken out to do bad things with it. And we thank you for helping Ron Magill take care of the animals in South Florida. But we went to Ron Magill immediately after what I believe to be the worst list of dueling top fives we've ever done around here.
Wow.
I did not know what they were, what we were doing, and it ended with Greg Cody, no awareness whatsoever about the hard net workout. Again, he's really confused by this more than ever. He doesn't know when any segment is going to end, trying to say that his number one, and it's not an athlete that represents family, but a performer of any kind, including his uncle, the punk music star from the 80s, late 70s, Adam Ant.
So good.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Adam Ant.
Was jealous. I didn't have Adam on my list.
Goody two shoes. Am I right?
Yes, that was one of his songs, but you
news to me.
That was not one of his songs.
Evgeny Dadonov. You guys could have gotten that one. He plays for the Stars. He's in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
right now.
guys.
Come on, let's go.
Come on.
Be better.
Be better than this.
Yeah.
Where's the Dadonov?
Steph Curry. Come on, Steph.
That's a good one.
Juju, go sit
I like
in the
where
penalty
it's
box.
at. I like it.
Wait,
Juju,
what?
Get out of here. Sit in the penalty box. Steph is not stepbrother. There's an H in there that doesn't belong there. It's being said by somebody with a lisp.
It's a silent H.
Just get out of here. Thank you for all your contributions on social media. I think you've got a better Q rating than anyone around here. That was terrible.
Dan, he left me with a list of his top 5.
Wow.
It can't be worse than the other top fives. It can't be.
It's not worse, but there's some that are puzzling, if
All
I
right.
could say that.
Let's do it.
So
Yes.
number 5, I guess, was Steph Curry. Wow. Which
I still like it.
So he is doing puns instead of okay.
I guess I don't
All
know.
right.
Number 4, Chris Childs. That one
Bad.
works. Yeah, that one works.
Number 3,
Sonny Liston. Sonny.
number 2,
Vin Baker.
Vin Baker.
Yeah, Vin Baker. Anybody got that one?
Vin.
Did he have a nickname that was something?
Number 1.
Number 1 was Russell Westbrook. The reason why? The Brody. That's the nickname.
What's the joke we're missing on Vin Baker? We'll ask him when he gets back.
Jason Kidd. Oh, that would have been
yeah.
a good one.
Julia Child.
Yeah.
My cousin Vinny, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Roy.
Isn't the Childs category closed down once you've done Chris Childs?
No, because Julia Child has no S on the end.
It is a different one.
She's an only child.
Right.
Fair enough. Stugotz was laughing about something. I meant to bring this up yesterday, and then the internet got a hold of it, and now, because things are moving too fast, I'm getting to it too late. But a lot of people over the weekend were laughing at the idea of champion quarterback Stetson Bennett, who's 474 years old and played all of those years at Georgia, didn't graduate from the school.
It's amazing.
He started going there in 2017, and they won championships. And lest you think any of these people are there to go to school, I offer you, Stetson Bennett was there majoring in professional quarterback meant to win championships at Georgia. If he went to a single class, it would be too many. If he went to a single class, I would advise him to never do that. Just run the train that runs over Nick Saban. It's hard to do. Don't open a book. Not one. You could be a professional quarterback, and then we will set you out in the world to not be an NFL quarterback and fail at life. It's okay. You're a champion forever.
Two-time champion. 6 years, 2 championships, no degree.
Dan, the guy's name is Stetson Bennett IV. I think he'll be okay.
He's got a hedge fund to run. Yeah.
It's great. They got a mercenary. They got somebody who I'm assuming, even though this is totally unfair, based only on the 4 in his name, grew up with butlers. They don't need a school. I'm sure their private library stocked with whatever education he needs to have a fanciful and fruitful future, because he's Stetson Bennett the 4th, and he went to Georgia to have some great fun years of college. It must have been amazing to be him.
Juju's penalty has expired, and he's back. And we asked him as soon as he walked in, explain the Vin Baker thing.
Please.
I'm disappointed in all of you, especially Billy.
I think it's our fault. I think it's probably a funny joke.
Family, Vin Diesel. Wow. Come on, guys.
Yeah. And this week of all weeks, man.
Juju, get out again.
Wow, back-to-back 2-minute penalties. Deserves it, I got to be honest.
Another 2 minutes. Thank you. Right back on the ice, right back in the penalty box. But since he brought up Fast and the Furious, I saw, and I've been waiting to get to this with Billy for a full week. There is a job that evidently pays $1,000 to watch all 10 of the Fast and the Furious movies. So I'm going to say, what is that, $100 an hour you're being paid, roughly? But you don't have to just watch the movies. For an insurance company, I think it was, you have to chronicle all of the damaged cars in the movies.
Yeah.
And that becomes a dollar. You're being paid nothing. Because you're going to spend 7,000 hours with that trying to get all of the damage to cars in those movies.
Well, so it's the 10 movies, right? Well, I guess you'd only watch the 9, because how could you watch the 10? It's still in theater, or it's kind of yeah. So, anyways, oh, by the way, Dan, yeah, you mentioned, by the way, this is Fast and Furious week, that the last one is supposed to be 2 parts. It's now a trilogy. What? So get excited.
Who
could
have seen that coming?
Vin Diesel says, you know what? 2 is not enough to end this. We're gonna have 3.
And it appears that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has come crawling back.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Jeez.
Oh,
yes, that's a big
so
spoiler
much
alert.
money?
That is a big spoiler alert.
Are you kidding me? I thought The Rock was going to sit that out.
Seen it all over Twitter that he is returning to the franchise.
There's reports that there was a cameo.
I thought they hate each other. How much did they pay him for that?
I mean, it's not about money, Dan. It's about family.
It's actually more about Black Adam.
Will that be received well, him coming back, or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure as soon as he comes on the screen, it's going to pop.
But they hated each other, did they not? The Rock was bothered by Vin Diesel's ego, and at the end, Vin Diesel gets him to come back?
I wonder, and I don't know the specifics, I wonder if they're probably not in a scene together. You would think, right? It's like, let's just get them in here, and then we have a couple years to figure out how we're going to fix this.
Billy, but doesn't Vin Diesel have, like, ultimate say? Like, he's the godfather that says, no, he's not in, yes, he's in?
Yeah, I mean, I think, but I also think that he knows that there's value in The Rock. He was actually trying to get The Rock to come back, if you remember the fight. Like, he was pleading with him. He was calling him his brother and doing all these things, or he was trying to get him on social media to come back. So I guess it worked.
Look at Vin Baker getting us here.
Yeah. Jeez.
But
it's a good list by Juju.
Is it a good job?
Shake and bake.
No, I mean, it's a very difficult job, right? Because it's $1,000 to watch the 10 movies, and then you have to chronicle every little piece of damage done to a car, which is endless. Like, just the safe scene in the one that was in Brazil where they're dragging a safe through the streets of Brazil attached to 2 cars where it then it's rolling around like a mace or whatever, right? Going through buildings, hitting every car. I mean, how would you even know the make of model of some of these cars that you have to then
But
chronicle?
are you imagining that this is a job that once you dig down on it pays $1 for every 12 hours of work? That it sounds like you're getting $1,000 to watch 10 movies. That's easy, but you have to stop and write down every time all the damage to cars. What do you think that job is actually paying for the amount of time you have to spend doing this?
Well, this is what I'm wondering. Is there someone checking this? Like, did someone already have to do this for this promotion to exist, and then they're going back and verifying that you didn't miss, like, a Toyota Corolla in the 4th one that's blue 44 minutes and 28 seconds in, you know?
Well, you got to do your job well, right? You got to do your job.
No, you can cheat. Just say, the Fiat has a broken bumper at the 4-hour mark. Who's gonna fact check that? Nobody.
Well, look who's talking Vin Diesel. Bishop to Rook 12.
Mike, do you have a top 5 list in honor of Nick Cousins of people inside and outside of sports whose name connotes family?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Number 5.
Cornelder.
Number 4.
Mama Cass.
Good one.
Number 3.
Tia Carrere.
Excellent.
Tia. What does Tia mean?
No idea.
You said it was excellent.
I was just supporting Mike.
What do you think Tia means?
Uncle?
Number 2.
Iris Familia.
Good one. Whole family.
Number 1.
Omar Infante.
An infant. Doesn't have to be family. Much better than your list, Greg Cody. I think it could be said without any dilution.
I don't think so at all. Adam and
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.